In this class we're going to talk about the systems approach. Now there are other videos on this topic elsewhere in the course, and it's important that they are consulted and you have notes based on that material. So this particular video is actually quite short, as you can see from the bottom right hand corner. It's just 19 slides. So it's a short class, and it's more of almost a revision class to supplement the earlier material. Nonetheless, treat it seriously and make some notes from it. So let's start. Katzen Kahn in 1966 identified 5 subsystems in organizations. First of all, there's the technical or production subsystem. Now this is concerned with essential processes that must be undertaken in order to continue in business. So the technical or production subsystem is really a statement about the core activities that the organization must undertake if it is to continue in business. This is what must happen for the business to continue. Next is the support subsystems. These are concerned with the acquisition of inputs and the disposal of output. So these are the support subsystems. In other words, the purchasing department, the acquisition of inputs, and the disposal of outputs, the logistics, the distribution system, and also to some extent the marketing system that enables the organization to provide the right products, identify the customers, identify where the customers are and the attributes of the customers, and so on. So the support subsystems runs across from purchasing and the relationship with the suppliers on the one hand to the disposal of output at the other. Then we've got the maintenance subsystems. These are concerned with looking after the inputs. The maintenance subsystems are looking after the inputs in the form of looking after the production system, looking after the premises, looking after the routines of the business, and making sure that all of the business, the communication systems, the production systems, and so on, all of these are running smoothly and efficiently. There's also the adaptive subsystem. These are concerned with responding to changes in the environment. It's important that organizations are aware of what's happening in the environment. It may want to conduct a pest analysis, for example, the politics, economics, social and technological environments within which the organization is placed, and recognize that these outside forces impinge on the organization, and the organization has to adapt to enable it to continue to function. It must respond, for example, to legislation that's passed by Parliament, that's become law. It must understand the requirements for proper trading and the requirement for ethical behavior. So it's understanding the external environment and changes in the environment and adapting to that. But there's also an element of adaptation to changes in technology that may be specific to the business. For example, the development of new technology in terms of robotics or software developments or whatever, which may impact directly on production within the system. So it's having an adaptive subsystem. That's also important. And there is the management subsystems. These are concerned with the control and coordination of the activities of the whole system to ensure the achievement of the goals of the organization. So the goals of the organization will be stated in the corporate strategy. That will be summarized in the mission statement of the organization. So these are the goals of the organization, but they must be operationalized. They must be moved into an operational plan, a marketing plan, a HR plan, and so on, and they must be operated upon accordingly. So there's a management subsystem, and this management subsystem controls and coordinates the activities of the whole system to bring about the overall goals of the organization. So what is stated in the corporate strategy can only be achieved if the subsystems, marketing, personnel, production, operations, distribution, if all these subsystems are playing their role effectively, if they are working properly. So within the system, within the organization, within the company, there are management subsystems. It's easy to see that these subsystems are connected. They're not individual, they're not isolated subsystems, they are connected. For example, a failure in the part of the support subsystem may lead to input shortages or marketing distribution problems. This will affect the production subsystem. You can easily see how these work out. A failure in the marketing subsystem to identify customer requirements may lead to a lot of wasted resources in new product development. Perhaps if the marketing research was wrong, then it could lead to a waste of resources in the development of products which are not appropriate for that particular market segment. So the subsystems are linked, and these subsystems feed into the overall system being the company, and the company's objectives, which is the corporate strategy of the business, what the business is trying to achieve. There's also a social technical system. The system's approach to organizations has been concerned with the relationship between people and technology in the workplace. It is a social technical system. People are involved, so it's social. And it's technical. There can be machines, technology, all sorts of processes and technicalities. So it's a socio-technical system. Trist and Bramford in 1951 introduced the concept of a social technical system. And why we're dealing with this here is that because this has become the seminal article. This has become the first article, or one of the early movers in this type of thinking, looking at companies as social technical systems. And so I want to spend the rest of this session on just talking about Trist and Bramford and their ideas, because we should now start to work towards looking at the organization as this sort of interface between people and technology. This was a study of a long wall coal mining in which the miners performed specialized tasks. So it was a study based on the mining industry, looking at the coal workers. The introduction of new technology caused the social structure to collapse. The pattern of work that had developed was broken. And this happens within industry. When people work for long periods together, working with certain patterns of work, they establish relationships. They establish a culture. And when a new technology is introduced, that culture is broken. They have to learn new ways, and perhaps they don't have the same degree of interaction. And also skills that were accumulated over many years may suddenly be redundant, being replaced by new technology. So technology can be very disruptive in that social setting. And we think here of traditional trades that have come and gone. We think of skills and artisans in the past who had particular skills and would pass it on to, let's say, apprentices who would train with them for many years to acquire the skills, and then they would become the masters and would acquire apprentices of their own. And in that way there was continuity and moving forward in time. The supply of the product was almost guaranteed. There were trades, skills, and artisans involved. But with the advent of rapid technological change, a lot of these processes could now be done by machines. And that was very disruptive, so that skilled workers were lost, and particular professions and organizations, companies, guilds of workers, all sorts of structures, social structures, were destroyed. Now, whether this should have happened or not, some people would debate, but most people would say, well, that's inevitable. That is progress. That is the nature of innovation and change within society, and that's what we are used to, and certainly that's what we're used to nowadays. But the idea of a company being a social system as well as a technical system, albeit many people writing in the motivation area had come up with similar ideas, including indeed Elton Mayo with the Hawthorne studies. But many people have come up with similar ideas. But it's worth just discussing this concept and bringing this particular article before you to consider. The breakdown in work patterns, well, it could cause disputes and low morale amongst the workforce. It could lead to strikes and agitation and discontent. But as I said earlier, it was also seen as inevitable. This is the way we are as a species. We like modernity, we like new things, we like progress, we like technology, we like labour-saving activities and ways in which technology can be used to minimise drudgery and hard work. Tristan Bamford concluded that the work environment was a social technical system. They viewed the working environment as an interaction between the social needs of the workers and the technical requirements of the production process. So there was a tension. Classically, people believed that people went to work for remuneration, but it was increasingly obvious to many writers that people go to work not just for remuneration, certainly that was important, but they go to work for social interaction and to feel valued and to feel they have worth, they have a contribution to make. But within the workplace, they were facing competition from technical change and from technology. The system approach takes a wide view of the organization and includes the needs of the worker. So the systems approach takes workers into account. It also takes technology and it takes modern thinking into account and looks at systems and looks at how systems can perpetuate themselves and continue, and what adjustments are needed within systems to enable them to continue. But as I said, that's the subject matter of other videos which appear elsewhere in the course, and you should take time to seek these out and look at those other videos as well. So in this particular one, we just wanted to talk about the technical system and the importance of the technical system as it evolves and how it makes an impact on the working condition, but also bearing in mind that people are people and they have got particular requirements for social interaction, for contact and so on. And there is a tension there. But as I said, also, a lot of this material is written up in other areas. For example, you may want to seek out videos on motivation, which again are very useful when considering this particular tension. But that's all I'm going to deal with here, so let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.